All right, welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, December 13th. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin real quick in context of local price action, where I think the next few weeks are going to go for BTC prices. And then more specifically, I'm going to focus on Solana and the Solana ecosystem. So if you want to just forward this part of the Bitcoin price action, you can skip ahead and then you can see all the stuff that I am going to talk about Solana and why I'm super bullish on the next few weeks of Solana and especially the next 1 to 2 years of Solana. So first things first, in Bitcoin price action, what we have is a double top that formed right here, a distribution top. We've now sold off a decent amount. I would say from, let's just say the local high of 45K, we sold off about 10%. That's pretty modest in BTC price action. However, I will say that I believe price right now is kind of doing this, right? Which is it's maintaining its local uptrend that began here in mid-November, second tap in late November, and pretty much early December right here. And now we're at the same spot or very close to it. I personally think that it is not out of the question for us to dive down towards 38K, which is a very key SR level dating back to 2021 and 2022. Let me show you exactly why I believe that is the next area for us to tag. If you look at the weekly candle right now, it looks relatively bearish, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go all the way down here, but it would be good. It would be really good for us to come retest this area on a weekly basis from resistance going up into support. And then that gives us the propulsion to go all the way up to about 50K, which is, I believe, our ultimate target when it's all said and done here locally. Okay. That's one area that I believe that BTC is going to reach towards in the coming few weeks. Now, how do we relate that to Solana? Now, this is going to be the meat of our discussion. Okay. Actually, hang tight 1 second. Before I do that, so we talked about BTC, right? I want to give credit to Rect Capital, who has been, pretty spot on in his charts, his analysis. And I like following Rect Capital because he does great videos and he does great content. So this is kind of his outline of where we are in the cycle. If, he's obviously not here, but if I were to kind of, look at this chart, I would say, well, I think this area right here could easily be this in the coming, few months, right? We're approaching that very, very closely in the coming few months, where we have a sideways slash down consolidation in the coming few months. And then we head higher post-halving. Remember, this is post-halving, right? These are all post-halving events. So we have the halving event coming up here in April or May in 2024, right? So the next few months, yeah, we could go a little bit higher towards 50K, but we could also pull back towards 24, 25,000 by the halving time and then go higher post halving. That's generally what's happened with BTC. Okay. So I just want to make that clear in terms of larger context and larger time frame. Now, jumping into Solana, which is going to be the meat of our discussion today. As BTC prices come down towards 38K, I believe Solana prices could come back towards 58 quite easily, right? 58 is probably the best area for us to come back and tag. And, again, let me go find you guys the reason of why I believe 58 is that next level, right? As you can see, this was kind of if I stretch this out a little bit further, right? It's kind of an important level context-wise back here in May, the 2nd May in 2022. Right here, we found resistance here in November 2023. Now, again, go up, come back, test the support, and then maybe we shoot higher towards 100, 120, right? My ultimate target for Solana, again, similar to BTC, is doing something like this, And then maybe, you know, maybe we break down into the end of the year in 2024, right? Something like that. And then maybe we head higher 2025. You know, I'm not sure how it's going to play out, to be honest. Okay. But the point is that that would be the ultimate target, somewhere around 100 to 125 for Solana. Okay. Now, in the grand scheme of things, okay, Solana's price action, Solana as a blockchain, Solana as an ecosystem, is still very, very underrated, right? As we've talked about before, Solana currently sits at 870 million TVL. Now, again, I know TVL is not the best metric, but let's just say it is a metric, right? In terms of just metric, it's not anywhere close to what Ethereum is, which is 27 billion, right? That's like a 40x off, I think. I mean, that's massive. And if you look at, you know, just total market cap of Ethereum, which is 270 billion versus Solana's, which is about 26, 27 billion, that's a 10x off, right? So the question I kind of asked myself, and maybe you want to ask yourself, is do you believe that Ethereum is literally 10 times better than Solana in total value locked, in ecosystem, in market cap? And do you think that's going to stay like that forever? Right, that's a real question. You know, do you think they're going to maintain that 10x difference between each other? When Ethereum first started, remember, right, if we go to CoinGecko, when Ethereum first started, you know, Bitcoin was obviously maybe 100x different than its market cap, maybe 1000x. Guess what? Ethereum closed the gap between Bitcoin and now is barely, I don't know, like what is that? 2.5, 3x off, right? Remember that gap used to be much wider back in the day. It closed the gap. Same thing I think Solana is going to do between this 28 billion and this 262 billion. You know, the gap is going to get closed. By when all is said and done by 2025, this should be close to about, I don't know, instead of the 10x gap, it should be maybe 6x or 5x, I think. Okay. And maybe in 5 years, 7 years, they should be equal. Probably Solana bigger. Okay. But that's just, you know, maybe my bias, right? I just use Solana so much that it is an incredible blockchain. It's an incredible blockchain. It's a bubbling ecosystem, and the community is just phenomenal. I've been in Solana since, you know, pretty much late 2021, mid 2021 actually, and it's always been the blockchain that will rival ETH. And the one thing I often talk about is the use case of Telegram bots, right? Things like Solana trading bot, which I've talked about over and over again, and you know, most people are concerned about the price action of Solana trading bot. And I've also said that if you actually look at, oops, sorry, ST bot, that's what I'm typing, right? If you look at ST bot or Sol trading bot or whatever, I'm still one of the only people talking about it. Telegram bots, if you actually use them, are extremely useful, and they're way more useful on Solana than they are on Ethereum, in my opinion. Okay, so the point is that I believe that Sol Trading Bot, ST Bot, is still an extremely undervalued asset. Yeah, it went up to about, you know, 1 million market cap, and now it's coming back. But again, if you kind of look at this in the grand scheme of things, right? Let's just say we zoom out a lot, okay? In the grand scheme of things, if you believe Solana is going to be the bigger ecosystem, Telegram bots are going to attract a lot of users, this thing could, you know, fizzle and fizzle and fizzle and slowly just continue to grind higher, you know, over the next coming months. And my overall thought process on this is trading at 481K market cap, whereas the equivalent Ethereum Telegram bots trade at 50 million, $60 million. I think that is extremely a very wide comparison and a wide ceiling for ST bot to catch up to. I mean, think about it, like 53 million compared to 481K. I mean, that's already a 100x, right? Like the 100x is the gap that Unibot and ST bot needs to cover. And that's just where it is right now. Remember, Unibot at one point was per market cap 200 million. 200 million. And I used this thing, and I remember, yeah, it was a very unique and amazing product when it came out. But STBot is just on a better chain. Like you can't change that, you know? So the reality is, I think Telegram bots are going to be a big thing. And I think STBot, especially if you look at holder analysis, if you look at all the updates that they have via Twitter, and the tokenomics, I even spoke to the team. They barely kept like, 5 to 8% for themselves. I mean, some of the top holders in the tokenomics structure here in Solscan, most of these guys in the top 5, 10, 15 holders, some of them have close to what the team has, right, in terms of percentage of holdings. So I'm not really concerned about the team just running out and selling their tokens. I mean, a lot of these people own just as much as the team, right? So I'm not truly concerned about that. As long as the team keeps building, I think everything will be fine. Okay. Anyway, enough about Sol Trading Bot, but do look into them, right? Use the Telegram bot. Let me know your thoughts on it. And again, I'm extremely bullish on SCBot and Solana ecosystem as a whole. I'm going to continue to hold this. I continue to hold it. Other things that I hold, a little bit of Pumper, a little bit of FluxB, a little bit of Myro, but for the most part, I'll be honest, Solana, the token itself, and then STBot are my largest holdings in the Sol ecosystem. Okay, now let's dive into to some other things, right? What else is important in Solana? Okay, a lot of other things. So we recently had news about Jupiter airdrop, right? Jupe, the token is coming soon, right? Airdrop token. We had Jito, which was another token that got released. But then we have other platforms like Camino, okay? Their borrow lending platform, Solana ecosystem platform that you could connect your wallet to. You could borrow and lend and provide liquidity, and you could go, long, short. There's all kinds of stuff that you could do on Camino. Now, I already let my community know that I am doing the borrow lending features and providing liquidity on Camino. Why? Because I think it's a good way for the future, like to get potential airdrops. Now, if I don't get it, that's fine. I'm still earning yield, right? I'm still earning either 4%, 5%, 6% TVL, or sorry, APR, right? So Camino is one. Marinade, same thing. There's an MSOL token, which you could use for the liquid staking. You can earn APYs up to about 8.6%. You can provide liquidity here. Same thing. You could provide SOL or MSOL or the Marinade token, which is MNDE. I'm also doing that. And then Solend, same thing, right? This one has a lot more pools. Some are higher risk, some are lower risk. I've provided some assets into Solana, into SLND, which is the Solend token. And I did the UXD pool, which I provided liquidity in the UXD and UXP. And I think I did some other stuff. I forgot exactly. And then Meteora. Now, I've not touched this platform yet, but I want to explore it today. And probably, the rest of this week, right? Again, Meteora, another platform that has not done airdrops or doesn't have a token, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Same thing you can do. You can use the platform. You can provide liquidity. You can earn APYs in stables, 1.7, 1.5%. Solana, you can earn 0.8%. You can provide your liquidity in different pools, which are, a split token like WIF plus SOL, WIF plus USDC, AVAX plus SOL. Basically, like when you provide liquidity like this, right? So you deposit half AVAX, half SOL, half WIF, half USDC. You're basically taking that counterparty risk of the second token being a little bit more volatile, right? Like Jito and AVAX and WIF are going to clearly be more volatile than USDC or possibly, even Solana, right? So that's why I think they hire they offer high APRs. And more importantly, I mean, TVLs are low, right? 177K, 195K. So of course they're gonna make sure that you get the highest APYs, APRs, because you're taking the risk of providing that liquidity at an early stage, right? And Meteor is also an aggregator, so it does swapping and looks at pools from probably different venues. Maybe it looks at Orca, Radium, maybe even looks at Camino, right? So Meteor is a pretty very unique concept that I want to look into. And Jupiter is kind of the same, but Jupiter doesn't necessarily do a whole lot of DeFi related stuff like borrow lend, liquidity provisions, yield farming, staking, etc. It's more so of a swap protocol. You can buy in limit orders too, which is really cool. DCA, which is kind of like your TWAPs, where you could buy or sell at an agreed upon time, at an agreed upon price, and then just let the thing do its thing in increments. Right. I think that's really cool. And then the bridge, which I think Wormhole partnered with Wormhole, which is a Jump subsidiary, partnered with Jupiter to basically allow bridges into things like Ethereum, into Solana, or vice versa, right? So I think that's really cool. And then Perpetual is sort of your long short opportunity to buy sell with leverage. They don't really have that high of a leverage. I tried it already, so it's really not. I mean, you can't degen like 10x, 50x or anything, but it's good. Like they're providing you a couple of different futures contracts here: ETH perp, WBTC perp, and Solana perp. So it's not bad. Now, moving on, everything that we've talked about so far, whether Jupiter, Meteora, Camino Finance, Solend, et cetera, is all DeFi related, right? And this one is Synesis, which I picked up a little bit of yesterday, is AI related. So it's not really a whole lot of projects in the AI segment on Solana, but this one is one that I found most interesting. It's kind of like the train to earn platform. Check it out, do your research. Again, everything that I've kind of provided so far in terms of information, I either have positions in, I have the token. So none of this is financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy or sell, just letting you know that please do your research, right? Because Solana is going to be a very bubbling ecosystem for the coming months, coming year or two. And you want to be ahead of the curve of, what's going on, right? Where are the people going? What are the people using? Where's the money going? Where's the talent going? So Synesis one. Now Drip, this is on the NFT front, right? Drip House is, I don't know, it's kind of like I want to say like the Blur or OpenSea of Solana, but they also do like other cool stuff where as creators you could, I think, create on the platform, something like that. If I'm not mistaken, maybe I have that wrong, but don't quote me on that. But anyway, basically a NFT platform, right? So really cool. Now, the next segment we're going to talk about is it's all how do you call it? DePin, right? If you're not familiar with DePin, so you can look up DePin Solana. Basically, DePin is your decentralized physical infrastructure networks, right? I think that's the definition. So point is that, yeah, decentralized physical infrastructure networks, right? This is going to be the next big thing that Solana is, heading towards, which is how do you decentralize things like mapping, right? So Google Maps and Apple Maps, okay? You see all the stuff in the red, this is people that have used things like Hive Mapper, where they mapped parts of the continental US, parts of Europe, parts of Australia, Japan, and they've shown us, hey, you can now use the decentralized maps that other people have mapped out for you instead of the typical Google and Apple. Why is that important? Well, I mean, one, if you're doing, if you buy a dash cam and you map out the roads, you get tokens for it. It's really cool. I mean, I think it's phenomenal to be able to have people contribute individually of, mapping and then earning rewards. Google did this by themselves with probably billions and billions of dollars spent, right? Well, HiveMapper gets to do that for you, and you get to map out the roads, and that allows everyone else to use the maps. And then, as you map out the roads, you get paid tokens, and those that use it in the future either pay a small fee or maybe they even get paid, right? So anyway, I thought that's really cool. And then now another concept under DePin is render token, which is distributed or decentralized GPU. So basically using your computer or your secondary, tertiary computers to lend your GPU power to the blockchain. And the blockchain can be utilized into, artists trying to create videos and content and art and NFTs, right? So I think that's also pretty phenomenal. Remember, Render, if I'm not mistaken, was started on Ethereum, and then it actually moved to Solana because, again, Solana can offer cheaper prices, faster transactions than Ethereum, right? I mean, that's just the fact. Other thing is Helium, again, Helium is kind of decentralizing your Wi-Fi, right? Hotspots. So all this stuff, DePin, like I said, DePin is all the next world of decentralizing, these things, these network like infrastructure where it's telecom, Wi-Fi, mapping, GPU, CPU, maybe even data someday, right? Things like that. And so you get tokens to be able to decentralize that if you're early enough. So Helium is that for the hotspot Wi-Fi world. And I've heard a lot of people talk on podcasts about it works really well and you get good rewards, right? I think it's like $5-10 to move away from your AT&Ts or Verizons or Vodafones of the world, and you can get into Helium. Now, the other thing is BetDex, which is sports betting on Solana. Again, decentralized sports betting, right? Again, not investment advice. Please do your own research. I don't even use it yet. But something to do research into, right? So this is on Solana. Again, good amount of liquidity, fast transactions, very low fees. And it's kind of like, Rollbit, basically, or small segment of Rollbit. But it's on Solana, right? So all these different things that I've talked about so far all pertain to, what's going on in Solana ecosystem, Solana price action, Solana future ecosystem growth and TVL growth, right? Tons and tons and tons of stuff going on. And yeah, I think it's good for all of us to start exploring this stuff because Solana is not going away, right? Yes, it sucks that Solana is down in price action, but I think this is a very small, narrow view of what, may come of the future, even if this happens, right? Like the opportunity for the upside is just massive. I mean, literally massive for ecosystem like Solana. Okay. So anyway, that's all I have, everybody. You'll take care. Good luck. And if you have any questions, shoot them my way. And we can chat more through our Discord. The link is below. All right. Good luck. Cheers.